It's Jenny McCormack, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley. Morning, Vanessa, or evening I should say for you. Thank you for joining us. So I'm based in the market town of Brackley in the UK, and I do a Facebook Live Monday through to Thursday. And the times are at the top of our Facebook page, so you can see those. So Mondays and Wednesdays here in the UK, it's 10 AM in the morning, and Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's 7 PM in the evening. Hi Catherine, thanks for joining us. Let's see if my phone continues to provide messages and comments. So I was using this lovely sweet Hello Ladybug stamp set last week, and I thought I'd carry on but use some of the other elements I haven't used yet. Good morning Jeanette, good morning Brenda. So these were the ones that were created last week. So this was earlier in the week, that was Monday. And then we did this one on Wednesday. I missed out Tuesday because I was out and about and not back home in time. And then this one on Thursday. And a variation of these cards is what we created at Coffee and Card on Friday, and will be again this afternoon in Toaster. And we did just a variation of this one, and people could choose the ladybird or the bee, whichever they preferred. So I realised I haven't really used any of the flower elements of this stamp set, so I thought I would do that today. And so I thought I'd do a little bit of background stamping, and I couldn't decide which stamp I was going to use for the background. Sound keeps going. Oh, let me just turn my microphone. It may be because I was moving away from the microphone. Let me know if that's any better. So yes, I couldn't decide whether to use this daisy one or these flowers, so I'm going to do one with each, and I decided to use two of our in colours. Oh, no sound. Okay, let me have a look. Okay, my system doesn't say I've frozen, so I'm going to pursue, but hopefully hopefully we'll be okay. If anybody else thinks I've frozen, do let me know, but according to this and to my screen, it's still working. Oh, Vanessa's got a black screen. How very weird. Okay, so if anybody's having problems, my recommendation is to go out and then come back in again. See if that resolves the issue. It's very odd. It's still okay on my mobile and still okay on my screen. Oh, Jeanette. Good. Thank you, Jeanette. So I apologise for those that are struggling, but I think it's okay here. So I've got two sets of our in colours, Fresh Freesia and Pale Papaya. And what I have in mind, and it is only in my head, is to lay this onto some white card. And I've picked out some paper from the that lovely Pansy designer series paper that I'm going to pop on there, and then add a little bit of ribbon. So the background on one is going to be the large daisies, and then the background on the other is going to be ah, bless you Vanessa. Hi Julia. And the other one I'm going to use Pale Papaya with the small daisies. Now, interestingly enough, this daisy shape here matches, not exactly, but the daisy punch is slightly smaller than this image, so you can punch it out and get a 3D daisy. So I'm going to do that, but I'm just going to do the backgrounds first. I don't want that to be reflecting in your eyes, so I'm going to move that off a little bit. So I cut this one to size already, and I'll do the same with this one, and they're both going to go onto a white card. Let me grab my trimmer. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. I had a busy weekend, but relaxing. Oh, jolly good. Oh, I'm sorry, Vanessa. It must be the airwaves between here and Australia. I hope it gets sorted out. Okay, I will choose some other paper for the bottom of these. So these are both cut to size. So this is our standard A6 card, which is half an A4 scored and folded in half, and then these that go on top measure 10 centimeters by 14.35, and if you prefer you could do 14.3 or 14.4. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to do two backgrounds. Now, bearing in mind I'm going to put this piece of paper at the bottom, I know I don't need to cover the whole thing, and I'm going to be using the coordinating colours. So I've got fresh Freesia and pale Papaya. So let's start with pale Papaya. Just going to grab a small piece of grid paper so I can go off the page. So I'm looking forward to copying card. The ladies had great fun on Friday with our ladybirds and bees. Okay, so that's going to be daisies, and this is going to be the small flowers. Now I did use these obviously as the background here, but I'm just going to stamp all the way over. So this is pale Papaya. Let's grab this. Now I really do like this set of 3 flowers, and I can see that's one that I'll use a lot for just little bits of filling in, or where you've got any gaps. Let's grab a block. Not really the right size for what I want. I'd prefer a smaller one, but most of it's still in my bag for coffee and card this afternoon. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp this one off first. Now, because it's a photopolymer stamp, and I've got obviously a very hard surface here, I am going to pop one of our piercing mats underneath so that I get a nice overall image. So just inking this up, and I'm going to work from one side across to the other, and I'm going to rotate the flowers so it doesn't look like you've stamped the same set over and over again. And I'm just stamping them fairly evenly, like so, as a background. Turn this one round. So this is also known as tone on tone stamping, because you're stamping the same colour as the background. If I just lift it up to the screen, okay, you get a nice soft effect. So I'm just working my way over. I will speed this up a bit because it's getting a little bit boring for you otherwise. Okay, so just going to stamp that. So you're almost creating your own designer paper, for want of a better description. But in this case, I'm just using it as a background, like so. That will be fine. Okay, so that's going to have another layer on top of some designer series paper. So that's going to go there. And then let's do the fresh Freesia daisies. So I've got the daisy here, and again I'm going to stamp this all over in the same colour ink. And I have to say, I do like our in colours, and if you don't know anything about these, Stampin' Up bring new in colours out every year. There are 5 new colours, and they stay for 2 years, and these are in addition to our normal staple colours, if you like, which are organised into brights, regals, neutrals, subtles, exactly as you would expect. And these enable us to follow trends of colours, and as I say, they last for 2 years. So these ones came out in 2021, and they will run till 2023. And then the previous ones came out in 2020, and they will finish in 2022. And those ones are the Just Jade, I can't think of the colour, Madness, I want to say, Magenta Madness, that's the one. Misty Moonlight is one of my favourites, and there is Cinnamon Cider as well, and I'm desperately trying to think of the other one, and I can't, it's gone. Somebody will remember, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just inking up this daisy, and again I'm going to start at one side and work across. Obviously this is a much larger stamp, so I'm not going to need as many, and I'm just keeping each set of 3 equidistant from each other. And then if you're working across one way to the next, then you should get a nice even design in the background. And let's just see how far this is going to come up. Yeah, so I don't need one in here. This is fairly equal all the way around, so I'm not having to turn it quite as much. Obviously just to fit in really with the other daisies. Yes, Just Jade is going in the summer, Catherine. Or are you asking, did I say Just Jade? Yeah, Just Jade, Magenta Madness. Oh, it'll be Bumblebee. Of course, see, I'm looking at my ink pads, and of course I've got Bumblebee ink pad out, ready for coffee and card. So they will all go in the summer. Let's just pop that one in there, like that. Okay, let's have a look at our strip, see how that's looking. Yeah, that's working. I wonder if I might put one in here. Let's have a look, see. Yes, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this piece over, because it's the other side I want to use, and I'm just going to ink this up. Yes, Bumblebee, thank you, Catherine. Morning, Jill. So I'm just going to do that on there, because there's a little bit of a gap. There we go. Okay, now what I am going to add, and this is one of those other really useful tiny stamps, it's just the 3 dots. If you can see these here, and they can go in the centres or they can go around. So let's try this one in the centre. Let me just grab a small block. I hope you're well, Jill. That's what I want, a little A block. And I think what I might do, I just wonder if I might do that in a different colour. So this one here is going to be hidden, so I'm just going to try it out on there. Yeah, that will work. Right, I need to take my glasses off. There we go. So I'm just going to pop these in the middle, but 3 little dots are really useful for adding in little gaps. If you've got any little gaps, oops, that was a bit off, then adding 3 little dots. And if you haven't got a stamp like that, you can just literally do 3 dots with the tip of a pen. That will work perfectly. Okay. Right, so let's see, this is going to go onto here. Okay, I haven't cut it to size, but I just cut it about 1.5 inch strip, which is, must be 3.5, 4 centimetres, for those of you in centimetres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this and then add some ribbon round. Oh, oh goodness me, Jill. So Jill lives out in the sticks and she'd run out of oil. Oh, bless you. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere this and then cut the edge off after. Let's get this to come to life. There we go. So just a small amount of glue, so well covered, but not, you're not squeezing it really hard, just a light coverage of glue. Okay, so this is going to go onto a white card. So I'm just going to slide that down there. Like so. From Bonnie, Scotland. Oh, hi Sue, how lovely to have you join us. I hope you're well. I noticed you were advertising some floristry workshops, and it's good to see you getting back in. Okay, so that is my base, and I want to add this lovely bit of ribbon, so I'm just going to add a small amount like that, and if I have some, just use some glue dots to stick that down. So just take the edge of the ribbon, push it onto the glue dot and help it off, like so. And then with this matching ribbon, you can either have it high, low, or in the middle. I'm going to go in the middle, I think. And then add a glue dot to the back, like so. And wrap that round, sorry. Hopefully that's in your view. It is indeed, Sue. Yeah, it's from the new catalogue. I'll happily pop one in the post up to you if you'd like. Very sweet. So we were making these ones last week. And it has a matching punch. So cute. But I've gone completely different today. I'm just using the flower elements. Okay, I'm going to stick this down to my one card. Like so. Okay. To my glue. And then I'm going to stamp and punch out some of these daisies just to show you how they work with the punch. So getting close to the edge but not really close, and then I'm going to slide the card on, and that will then help it adhere without losing any of the glue and getting it all over the place. So just taking time to match that up. Oh, excellent. That's good. Well done too. Just so pretty and bright, isn't it? You wouldn't believe it was the same set, would you? Okay, let's add a little bit of this. Just going to tie that as a knot. I haven't quite decided where that's going to go, but the good thing about doing that is you can slide it up and down your paper, because it's not actually attached to the ribbon, so you can move it wherever you want. Okay, so, and I think let's stamp and punch out a fresh Freesia daisy. Okay. I will do that too. No trouble at all. Lost my daisy stamp. There it is. Okay. So just inking this up. And I'm not sure how many. I might do 2 or 3. And obviously you could punch out a white layer as well, or you could punch it out in the fresh Freesia. And this is the medium daisy punch that I'm going to use. And I do those middles. There is a little stamp that you can use to put in the middle. You only need one, because that'll be on the top, won't it? Okay. So, I don't know if you can see what oh, excuse me, gone all hoarse. So if I just put it on there, can you see once I pinch it out? So it's the stamped image is slightly larger than the punch, which works perfectly. So let's cut out 3 of those, and then I'm going to layer those together like so. Oh, voila. So that's our medium daisy punch. Oops. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And what I might do is, I've got one of our blending brushes, So what I'm going to do is add a little bit of detail. So this is actually purple, so my pinks and purples sort of work together. So I might need to go a little bit darker, I don't know. Just want to, well, it is working, but I'm just going to use this one. Oh, bless you, Catherine. Have a good run, my darling. Take care. So this is gorgeous grape, so a little bit darker. I just want to make the tips of these flowers a little bit more interesting. Like so. So for those of you that have ordered my class in a box this month, everything is set out in my lounge currently on a table. All the cardstock and the papers have been cut, and I'm just doing the final of the die cuts. That's always the one that takes the time. And we have an in-person class tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. That's in the afternoon. And then I'm hoping that all of the kits will be able to go out today, tomorrow and Wednesday, and they go out in the order in which they were ordered. So the earlier you order any of my classes, the quicker you'll get it. Sometimes they all go out at the same time. It just depends on the quantity and the amount of die cutting I have to do. Okay. Hello, Ellen. Nice to have you join us today. So I'm going to stack these 3 up like so, and then they're going to go on here as a focal point. So I am just going to use a bone folder to soften these petals. Just to do that. There we go. 1, 2. So I hope you're well, Ellen. So just curling these around. So we're using a new stamp set called Hello Ladybug that has this lovely little daisy image. This is the image that we've stamped, but I've punched it out with our daisy punch, and it makes it look quite different, doesn't it? You could actually layer these on top of each other if you wanted to, but I'm just very gently curling these petals like so, and then we're going to glue these together. And I've just used that blending brush on the edges, so a little bit of glue on that one, and bringing this one in, and I'm just offsetting it a little bit. If I take that paper out, you might see it a little bit better. I'll bring it up to the screen like so. The colour really washes out when I bring it up. Okay, and then this one is going to go on the top. So again, a little bit of wet glue and layering that on there. This would be lovely if you cut it in white and tinged it with a little bit of yellow, I think, or just tinged it with a little bit of pink as well. Okay, hi Scylla. Okay, let's trim this down, and we need a sentiment. This is somewhere. So this is all Freesia cardstock and ink, and then this patterned paper from the Pansy set. Not quite sure whether to put it up there or there with a sentiment next to it, or maybe a sentiment underneath. Let's move this across. If I no, I may take this bit out, I'm not sure, we'll see. Okay, so that's going to go onto there, and I'm going to add a sentiment, I think, just underneath in here. So we've got hello from the stamp set. Hi Isabel, thanks for joining us. This one here, but I think this is a bit small for this one. I used it here on a little tag. Actually that worked quite well, but it stands out against the black, I think that's why. So let's have a look and see. Yeah, I think it's too small with those flowers on there. I think it's too small, so let me find a larger stamp to go with that. And it's just a sentiment I'm after. Could make it a happy birthday one or a friend one. Really wants a sort of long thin one. Maybe this happy birthday would work nicely, or just a card to say you're amazing. Let's have a look at this happy birthday. It's just got a gem on it. Maybe that would work. What do we think? Underneath there. Or it's Monday morning, I'm being indecisive. I could have this on a separate piece, but I quite like it on this here. So let's stamp this and see how we get on. I'm going to do it at an angle. Okay, so what do we think? Could do it there. Just feel like it needs to be in the middle. Don't ask me why. Okay, bit of espresso, I reckon. So I really want it to stand out. Let me just try it on this piece here. Yep, that looks good. So just making sure it's stamping well and I've got enough ink applied. There we go. Make sure that's out of the way. Should have taken my glasses off to stamp that, so hopefully it's all right. There we go. Okay, right, I'm deliberating about this because I'm not quite sure. So I'm actually going to take it off for a minute. And what I'm going to do is maybe just add it underneath the flower after all that effort, like so. Yes, that feels a better balance, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm just going to fold that and use some glue dots to attach it to the back of the flower, like so, which are right here in front of me. There we go. It's definitely a bit nippy still out there this morning here for us in the UK. Although I don't think it was frozen early this morning like it has been. So like that. I'm going to put that one up on dimensionals, and then I'm going to add a little bit of bling into the centre of that flower. So I'm going to put one there and one there, and that's going to hold the ribbon in place as well. Clear this out of the way. Like that. And there is a set of gems that have a fresh Freesia gem in the middle. So I'm thinking, or I could put 3. Pick up this gorgeous grape. Let's do that. There we go. So not a ladybird in sight for this card. So one. These are all the same size, but 4 different colours. 1, 2, and 3, like that. There we go. We got there. Let's add a little flower on the inside, and then obviously we can add a sentiment to that. Let's stamp that out. Find myself some space. And the ink pad. Oh, a bit drizzly for Sue in Oban. Oh, bless you. Okay, so fresh Freesia again. Sorry if this is just off the page, off the screen for inking up. Just going to pop that in here, like so. Find my little set of 3 dots, like that. Okay, so that's card number 1, using the daisies from the stamp set. The daisy punch, which doesn't exactly match, but it's close enough that you can punch those out, because I'm certainly not fussy cutting those. And the colours I used were, for this one, fresh Freesia. There we go. And so let's finish off the pale papaya version. So I'm going to do a similar thing. So this one I use the different set of stamps. I use the little set of 3 like we've used here all over the top. Let's grab some matching coordinating paper. Actually, I could use this one because those flowers are very similar. Let me just see. I do rather like the gingham though, I have to say. It's a bit of a scrap, but it will do. Yeah, I think I prefer that, because otherwise it's introducing too many other colours. So I'm going to trim this one down, find the best bit of that. So I'm going to cut it to 14.35. That's the width that I use for this layer here. And the last one I did was about 1.5 inches, I think. Yeah. There we go. Now there'll be nothing to stop you doing this card in the vertical position like that, and you can have sets of flowers coming down here or sentiment. I'm going to stick to this design. So let's apply this, and then I'll look for some matching ribbon. Hello Dee, good morning to you. And anybody else who has joined us, because I obviously only get to see certain people pop up. If you're not logged onto Facebook and you're just watching because it's a Facebook page, then I can't acknowledge you, I'm afraid. So it's not that I'm ignoring you, just that I can't see your name on my list. Okay, let's try some fresh Freesia ribbon for that. Which I'm pretty sure I have, she says. Indeed. Go. So I'm going to do the same thing, just to add sort of 1/2 inch or a couple of centimetres on either side, no more than that. Okay, add a glue dot to one side, just pushing that on there and helping it off. And then wrapping that first one round to adhere it in place, like so, and then adding your other glue dot on the other side. Just picking that up with our take your pick tool, folding that over. There we go. So there's our base again. Pop that onto a white card. Okay, no problem, Sue. I'll pop a catalogue in the post. Okay. So I'm just going to flatten that there, add this layer on, so. Okay, and now I think I'm going to do is punch out some of these daisies and just tint the edges. So let's just try. Two, three, like so. Hiya. Indeed. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Now I could either leave them like that. This would also work down that way. Or I could do them into one. Like so. So basically the same sort of design. But what I want to do is tint these edges. So I'm just going to bring back this piece here. Grab my yellow blending brush and then add a little bit of this. So I'm just going to tint it from the edge. So I don't think you can, hopefully you can just see the difference between those two. If I lift it up to the screen, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's difficult for me to tell with the light. I think you can just see it. The other thing you could do is do circles with this and then punch it out. That would also work. Or you could punch out using some pale papaya card. So there's 1, 2 and 3. Go. Three separate flowers, says Brenda. Okay. Then we'll do this as 3. Hello, Tracy. How lovely to have you join us this morning. Haven't caught up with you for ages. I hope you and your family are all well. Okay, so just inking those edges using the blending brush, and I'm just using it on its side here so that I'm not filling the whole thing with ink. Don't need to do that. Okay, right, separate is. So the question is, do I need to multiply these layers so that they're thicker like this, or just keep them as individual like that? So either doing something like that. So what I could do is punch out some pale papaya and have that behind. Let's have a look, see if that would work. So I'm plunging right into this so I can still use this as a card base rather than punching at the edges. So by punching as far into the centre, I could still use this as a base for a card. Susan's got 5 minutes while Ruben beats Grandad up. Oh dear. Okay, so what do we think? With that layer behind, or individual flowers, or I could do a mix. Hi Tracy, thanks for joining us. 2 Traces today. What do you reckon? I can't quite decide whether that's too much pale papaya. So whether to do 3 like that or 3 separate. They just look a little bit spindly, don't they? I think I might do that just as a combination, just so it bulks them up a little bit. Let me know what you think. Like so. And that would work. You could have that in landscape as well, couldn't you? Or portrait. I think it works either way. I'm going to go for this, I think, unless anybody's quick enough to say otherwise. Go for the 3, but with the layer behind. But what I might do is just add a little bit more colour to those, so it stands out from the base. I could almost go a pumpkin colour. Let's just try it with this and see. Brenda likes it with the layer behind. Oh, jolly good. Yeah, I might even go Calypso if I've got it. Just a slightly darker tint. If it doesn't work, I'll turn the flower over, the leaf over. There we go. Yes, I like that. So it's just got a little bit more definition. Whoops. There we go. So you could almost not believe this is the same stamp set. And I haven't even used the leaf yet either. So if you haven't got these lovely brushes, I really do, look at that colour there, I really do recommend. If you struggle with daubers and blending backgrounds, then I think these could be your saving grace. If you can see the difference between those. Probably a little bit too far away. Okay. That's it. Am I actually going to use this on these as well? Yes, Isabel loves the brushes. They're just so much easier to control, and the further down the handle the lighter effect you get. So, you know, and you don't have to be really strong to be able to use them either. You can get a really good effect. That one, and then this one. Okay, so sorry this is a bit longer than normal. I was trying to cut down my Facebook Live to half an hour, but then I have done 2 cards, so maybe you'll forgive me. And if you've lasted this long, then thank you. Okay. Right, let's cover those up. Let's mount these together. So I've got 3 bases. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to each one. And if you can, it's always best to put the glue on the piece that you're not moving around, like so. And then you're less likely to pick it up and get it on your fingers. Okay, so put it on the piece that's on the bottom if you can. And I'm just going to separate those. 2 and 3. There we go. Right, and they're going to go onto there. And I just want to curl those petal edges as well. It sure looks pretty that way. Just to give it a little bit of interest. 1, 2, 3, and then I just need to find something to put in the middles. And then a sentiment, and we're done. There we go. You can hardly see the ribbon, but we know it's there, don't we? Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is put these down with glue because I want to adhere the ribbon comfortably to the back. Oh, bless you, Brenda, you're so kind. I know that, you know, let's do the middle one first. That is the good thing about Facebook Lives and YouTube, is you can just hop off when you've had enough, and I don't necessarily know that you've gone. So there we go. Thank you, Jeanette. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll move that a little bit along. So I'm going to put those down and position them before the glue adheres. So just holding those in place while the glue sets, and you could just put a punch or something on there to hold it in place. And I want some middles. Now I could punch out if I've got some little circle punches. There we go. I know I flattened that a little bit, but I want it to stick through the ribbon, okay? Go. So let's see what I've got I could put in the middle of those. No, I know these are old. I bet they're the wrong. Oh, I don't know. Might get away with that. What do you think? Fluffy daisy middles. I think that works. So these were floral perennial essence floral centres. So they have retired, but they do make a rather good daisy middle, don't they? So I don't normally use retired products, but I just sort of I think that just works really nicely. Let me bring that up there. What do you think? And they are self-adhesive, so you just peel the backings off. One, two, and three. There we go. Voila. And then, do I want a sentiment on here? I could have a happy birthday across the top. That would work quite nicely. Or in there. That would fit, wouldn't it, underneath? What do we think? See what else I've got. Well, thanks for brightening up my day. In there would look quite nice. Ta-da. Thanks for brightening up my day. Why not? Something different. And that's going to be in, of course, early espresso. There we go. So I'm going to stamp that onto a spare piece first, because I haven't used that stamp yet. And we're done. So there we go. I'm inking this well because I know there's not much ink in my ink pad. Okay, now what I'm actually going to do is reposition this stamp right at the bottom of this block, because I've got these pieces here which are quite high, and if I try to stamp like that it would get caught on these middles. So by moving this right to the bottom of the block I avoid going over those daisies. Let me put the lid on that. What I'm looking for is the ink pad. So normally I recommend putting your stamp in the centre of your block so that it's even all the way around, but in this instance I don't want to get in the way of this here. There we go. There we are. Thanks for brightening up my day. There we go. So, let me show you our 2 cards from today. So we have this one here with the 3 layers of daisies on, and I've just used a blending brush around the edges, and that was white card to start with. And then this one here, I've used pale papaya in the background and white, but just used some Calypso coral to tint the edges of those flowers. So you get a completely different effect. So there we are. I'm happy with that. Thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you that have my class in a box for January, as I say, they will be posted out, and we have our in-person class tomorrow. That's Tuesday, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's in Evenly. And I'll be back tomorrow evening. I'm just deliberating about that because I know I have a business team meeting tomorrow, so I will update that because I can't remember what time I set that to be. So apologies if I change it. It will be 5 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, but I will pop a post on later on. So thank you so much for joining me. Do take care, and have a great day, afternoon, evening ahead, depending on what time you're watching this and when. And if you have any queries or questions, don't hesitate to pop them in the comments section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye for now. Take care.